You've never been truly cold. Not like they were. Not the kind of cold where one bad decision tonight means you don't wake up tomorrow. Forget snow days. Forget forgetting your jacket. Imagine a world where winter lasts for months, food disappears, and every sunrise feels like something you earned. Archaeologists have spent decades uncovering what our ancestors left behind from those frozen worlds, and what they found is darker than most history books ever mention. This isn't myth. It isn't folklore. It's written into human bones, and those bones tell an incredible story. Picture Europe during the Ice Age. The air is so cold that your breath freezes almost instantly. Forests have given way to vast frozen grasslands. Mammoths roam the horizon. Cave lions hunt nearby. There are no farms, no supermarkets, no warm houses waiting for you at the end of the day. Just a small group of people trying to survive another night. Everything you own is on your back. Every mistake can kill you. The cold doesn't care how intelligent you are. It only rewards those who adapt. And some of the adaptations ancient humans developed are almost impossible for us to imagine. One discovery in England shocked archaeologists more than almost anything else. Inside a cave, researchers found human bones. Not unusual. Then they looked closer. The bones had cut marks, the same kinds of cuts found on butchered animals. The long bones had been cracked open to remove the marrow. Even more unsettling, some of the bones carried unmistakable human bite marks. Someone had eaten these people. But that wasn't the strangest discovery. The skulls had been carefully cleaned, the face removed, the base trimmed away, until they resembled bowls. Today they're known as skull cups, the oldest directly dated examples ever discovered. One forearm bone tells an even stranger story. After all the flesh had been removed and the marrow extracted, someone carefully carved a zigzag pattern into it. Think about that for a second. Someone paused after butchering a human body, not to eat, but to make art. Death, food, symbolism. At first, you might assume this happened because they were starving. Most of us would. If you were trapped without food, maybe you'd do the same. But that's where the story becomes even stranger. Horse bones, deer bones, other animals were found in the very same cave. Food existed, which means this probably wasn't a last desperate act. The careful shaping of the skulls suggests something much deeper. A ritual, a tradition, something passed from one generation to another. Imagine discovering that something you consider horrifying today was completely normal in another society. That's a difficult thought to sit with, but archaeology keeps forcing us to confront it. And this wasn't an isolated case. Across Ice Age Europe, researchers found the same pattern again and again. Different groups, different centuries, different regions, human bodies butchered using exactly the same techniques used for animals. In one remarkable case, the victims even appear to have been outsiders rather than members of the local group. Cannibalism wasn't simply an emergency plan. For some communities, it became part of culture itself. As disturbing as that sounds, it still wasn't the most impressive survival strategy ancient humans developed. Because surviving winter required solving an even bigger problem: calories. More specifically, fat. Imagine eating steak every single day. Sounds amazing, right? Now imagine almost every piece of that meat is incredibly lean. Very little fat. Your stomach feels full, you're eating constantly, yet your body slowly begins breaking down. This is something called rabbit starvation. Too much protein, not enough fat. You can literally starve while eating. Ancient humans understood this thousands of generations before anyone knew the biology behind it. Whenever they hunted large animals, they didn't waste anything. Researchers found evidence that entire teams systematically smashed bones into tiny fragments before boiling them to extract every possible drop of fat. Think about scraping every last bit of peanut butter from the jar because payday is still days away. Now imagine that spoonful determines whether your family survives the winter. That's what fat meant. This wasn't desperation, it was planning. A survival system refined over thousands of years. But food alone wasn't enough. You still had to survive the cold itself. Imagine trying to build a house without wood, without bricks, without metal. Now look across the frozen landscape. The biggest thing around is a mammoth. If one died nearby, it became your hardware store. Its bones became building materials, its tusks formed structural supports, its hide helped block the wind. Ancient people built shelters using the remains of the largest animals on Earth because nature offered them almost nothing else. What sounds bizarre today was simply good engineering. Then came one tiny invention that may have changed human history forever: the needle. Not a spear, not fire, a sewing needle. It allowed people to stitch fitted clothing instead of simply wrapping animal hides around themselves. That difference matters more than you might think. Loose clothing leaks heat. Fitted layers trap it. In Ice Age Europe, that extra warmth could mean surviving until spring. Some researchers even believe improvements in clothing helped give Homo sapiens a crucial advantage over Neanderthals. Not because Neanderthals were primitive. Far from it. They survived multiple ice ages. They mastered fire. They hunted enormous animals. They built shelters. They understood nutrition. But sometimes history changes because of surprisingly small advantages. A slightly warmer coat, a stronger social network, a better exchange of ideas between distant groups. Small differences, repeated over thousands of years, can change the fate of an entire species. And that's probably the biggest misconception about ancient humans. We often imagine them as barely surviving, brutish, primitive, always one step away from extinction. The evidence tells a different story. They were engineers, hunters, artists, problem solvers, parents trying to keep children alive through impossible winters. Everything they built, every shelter, every fire, every stitched hide, every carefully extracted drop of fat was another day earned against a world that constantly tried to kill them. Even the darker discoveries, like skull cups and ritual cannibalism, tell us something uncomfortable. They weren't monsters. They were people shaped by a world almost impossible for us to imagine. And here's the unsettling truth. If you had been born into that world, with the same dangers, the same hunger, the same freezing nights, you probably wouldn't have behaved very differently. Because survival has always changed what being human looks like. The further back we look, the less ancient humans resemble the cartoon version we've created, and the more they resemble us. Creative, curious, terrified, resourceful, capable of incredible kindness and incredible darkness, all at the same time. If this changed the way you think about our ancestors, then the next question is even more fascinating. What did they actually eat every single day? The answer is far stranger than most people realize. That's what we're exploring in the next video.